From the deepest reaches of the interwebs are two guys here to reveal the secret sauce in helping you develop multiple streams of internet cash flow. Share the knowledge without all the hype. It's the Internet Income Show.
Oh, I like that.
Now get ready for two regular dudes helping you become a smarter entrepreneur, get more out of life, and set you on the right path to becoming happily unemployable. Your host, Dr. Mike and Eric Louviere.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is another edition of the Internet Income Show. Thank you for joining us again this week. And I think this is episode number 8. So this has got to be some type of personal record for me. I don't know about you, Eric, but I've never done a recording this consistently. So I say we give ourselves props for a job well done.
Yeah, I pat on my own back here. Yeah, good job, Eric. Way to go. Being consistent.
It is, and that's just like a business. You need to be consistent. You need to keep at it. You need to be persistent and just keep moving forward. But you're more of the rah-rah guy to me, so that was my motivation.
Well, I'm getting better at it, man. Getting better. And not only that, I'm like getting to know you better, I think, a little bit, kind of, maybe, sort of, just a tiny bit.
Yes, I don't watch sports anymore because of what happened.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
That we're not going to talk about. Yeah.
At least you shouldn't make picks. Or at least don't make any picks against me. If I make a pick, then be sure and make the same pick, because so far the odds are you'll make the right pick if you pick the pick Eric Louviere picks. Because I'm always right, always.
Really? Wow, that's amazing.
I don't know what
I'm already gearing up for baseball. So.
Me too, man. I'm doing my fantasy baseball draft.
Oh, God. You do that stuff?
Yes, I do. I played college baseball, thank you, sir. So it's my, last thread of glory is to, play fantasy baseball.
Oh, God. I can't even keep track. But, that's a nerdy thing to do, I'm pretty nerdy.
Hey, anywhere I can inject nerdiness into my life is a good thing, Good thing. I try to inject nerdiness.
So you're checking the how many RBIs and home runs, putting together a team, right? And then are you in a league?
Yeah, I'm in a keeper league, which means we keep our players unless we trade them or drop them. So, I pretty much have the same team I've had for the last few years. Give or take a few players, and then we draft players that get really drafted. So all the players that get drafted this summer, we draft them too, put them on our team as prospects. So it's a long-term thing. I've been playing in the same league for years. It's pretty cool, man. I don't watch enough baseball to some of the guys in the league who are just super fanatics about it, and they do like you say. They measure every statistic, and I don't do any of that. I just kind of I like to follow certain players, and I try to get them, and I like to identify talent too, by watching videos or kind of analyzing the players. And I think sometimes I feel like I have a good eye for young talent that's going to be able to make it to the show. And so I don't know, I try to do those kinds of things, but I'm not really into the whole mathematics and statistics of the game. That's not really me. I mean, I think I dropped college algebra about 5 times when I was in school, so it's not my strong point.
Yeah, I was at they have a team here called the Padres. Apparently they play baseball. Yeah. So I take my son to the game, and there was this guy who was doing the fantasy baseball, and he had his scorecard and keeping everything on track, and he had the lineups, and it was wow, that is so intense. But can't you I was more like Hey, when's the popcorn guy going to be here? I think it's part of my problem on there. But, yeah, he was way into the game. And yeah.
Yeah, he was keeping score. He was doing the score. He was keeping the books of the game. You know who it's interesting? My sister does that. You know why? Because she grew up. She's my younger sister, so she grew up in a baseball family. You know, watching me go play baseball, and so she was part of it by doing the score. You know, keeping the statistics for the whole team. And now her daughters play softball, fast pitch softball, and she keeps the books. And if they go to the game, she does it. She knows the statistics and all that better than I do. I'm like, was that a base hit or a fielder's choice, or what was that? That was funny. But some people just really love that part of the game.
Yeah. Okay, I think everybody's completely bored. So we better move forward.
I'm not bored. We're talking baseball.
Okay.
Man. That's my love.
I want you to put in some baseball analogies into this podcast.
I can do that. I could do that. Definitely.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about, last week we talked about creating sales funnels. And I believe you had promised the community you were going to go over some strategies you've been using to get affiliates on there. So why don't you talk about that using baseball analogies?
I'll mix in some baseball analogies along the journey. So basically, the last time we were talking about sales funnels, and I was kind of talking about paid traffic mostly. So for me, and most of the people I know who's done millions of dollars online, they get most of their traffic from either, some form of paid advertising or through getting affiliates to promote for them. Now, some people get it through SEO and all that, but the majority of people get it from one of those two areas, either through paid traffic, paying for traffic, media buys and all that, or through getting people to promote for them like affiliates. And so last week I was talking about how if you pay for traffic, let's say you spend $100 today and you drive that traffic to a sales funnel, well, your front-end offer, that you're selling for cheap, usually that's what I do. You want to break even so then the traffic is free, the leads are free. So even you spend $100 today, you make $100. With paid traffic, you drive that traffic to a sales funnel, and then, you want to break even or turn a profit, and then your leads are free. Well, let's look at it from the point of view of recruiting affiliates to promote for you. Well, the beauty of that is you don't have to pay for traffic, and you have affiliates that are driving their best recommended traffic through your sales funnel, so it tends to convert higher. So in other words, if your squeeze page is converting at 35% with paid traffic, and then you go get, Dr. Mike or some kind of affiliate like that to promote for you, well, they're going to tell their list, hey, I really recommend that you get this, or go, opt in over here or whatever. Well, Dr. Mike is recommending that they go to your sales funnel. He's recommending that they opt into your squeeze page, or he's recommending that they buy your product or register for your webinar. That's recommended traffic. That's the best traffic there is, pretty much, especially if you sent it to his buyers list. And then now we're talking. So instead of your squeeze page converting at 35%, now it converts at like 56%. And instead of your front-end offer converting at 10%, it's converting at 32%. It's just crazy, So the numbers skyrocket when you get affiliates to promote for you, if they really promote for you. There's a lot of affiliates that will send you crap traffic, and they won't really promote for you or won't really get behind anything. And that happens as part of the game. And affiliates, recruiting affiliates is not for everybody. It's one of the things I hated to do. But back in, I think it was 2009 or 10, one of those years, I remember at the end of the year, we were doing our bookkeeping and, sending out the W-2 forms or whatever they're called. You send out to the affiliates, because you paid out their commissions. And I'm going to brag a little bit, but that year I did over $600,000 worth of revenue from just affiliates. That didn't count any of the paid traffic I did, didn't count any of the money I made from my call center that I had then, Didn't count any of the money I did from coaching or my own list. It's just the money I made from affiliates. Okay? Now it gets better. I looked at the amount of affiliates I had, and it was in the thousands. But that didn't mean that they all promoted. It's the whole 80-20 rule. In this case, it was not the 80-20 rule. It was like the 99-1 rule or something like that. Then I looked at, okay, well, who actually made money? Well, there was, probably 100 or so people that made money as affiliates, but most of them not a lot. And then it narrowed it down to 9 people, 9 affiliates made like 90% of that $600,000 for me. 9 people. So even though I had thousands of people who signed up to be affiliates for me, I had hundreds of people that actively promoted and made money, 9 people made me $600,000 worth of money. And it's just crazy to look back and look at that and understand that, it's math. Even with affiliates, it's math. You go out there and you may have to recruit 1,000 affiliates before you get 9 who make you $500,000, $600,000 worth of revenue. But there's good news. It gets even better, and that was 2009. It's much later now, and now it's like exploded. Everyone has lists now. It doesn't matter what market you're in. You could be in the dog training market, and there's thousands of people who have lists now. When even back then, even though it doesn't seem that long ago, in 2009, there were less people that have lists. In the make money online space, internet marketing space, in 2009, not everyone and their grandmother had a list. Now, there's so many people that have internet email lists. I don't even know who they are. I've never even heard of them. I can spend the entire year recruiting them to promote for me and not even make a dent in the amount of people that can send me traffic. And if you just look at the amount of people that have solo ads for sale right now, and the internet marketing make money on it's unlimited. It's ridiculous how many people have that. So just that in mind tells you that there's so many affiliates to go out there to recruit, to promote for you. And the same thing with the bigger niche markets out there as well. So the big thing is if people could just get immune to rejection, then they could recruit the heck out of affiliates and make themselves tons of money. And that's recommended traffic. It'll go through their sales funnel. Those leads, are great leads usually. And it can make people a lot of money very, very quickly. So I wanted to talk about that because that's probably one of the fastest ways I've ever seen people make, really serious money in this business. And that's from going and recruiting affiliates and landing a few whales that end up flooding them with traffic and leads and sales. I mean, I remember back a friend of ours did a launch and had a few marketers promote for him. And he filled them up with a list, right? He had a list of about 60,000, 70,000 people, not a ton, but enough, right? He lived on that list for like 5 years, just promoting the affiliate offers to that list. I mean, that's how he paid his bills. For like 5 years, he didn't launch anything else. He didn't do anything else except for promote to that list. And now he's in a different market altogether. He's not in the make my internet marketing space, but it's amazing. I remember when he did the launch and he got some big marketers to promote for him, and he told me how big his list was, and he actually showed it to me in a coffee shop one time here in Austin. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share is, you don't have to be a master at paid traffic. You can just become a master at asking people to promote for you, and that could make you some serious coin.
And when you went to those 9 marketers, were you surprised who they were? Were these big names, or were these was it a mix? Were you surprised when you finally came up with who those 9 people were?
No, I wasn't surprised. I knew every single one of them well. So it was like they were friends of mine, and looking at it, I mean, as far as their names being big, I mean, there was a few that didn't have big names, but the thing that stood out to me is those are probably, 9 of the 20 best friends I had in the market. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I had 100 best friends in the market. It's probably like 19, and that's it. And out of them, 9 of them seriously promoted the heck out of a few of my programs that year. And what's interesting is, like, if I look at those 9 people now, I mean, half of them are gone. They're not even in the market anymore. Or at least I don't see their names popping up at all. So things have changed a lot, but the point is that relationships are really important too when it comes to being successful in business. I mean, even good old Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich, The Power of the Mastermind.
I think you make a good point too. Some people, when they think about, when they talk about, having an email list, they just think it is in the MMO space, think money online internet marketing space, but that can be further away from the truth. Oftentimes, you can go. I've done some internet marketers who now go into other different markets like the dog niche, the finance, the real estate, and there's so much opportunity. I was talking with a marketer who was really big in the IM space, and he says, most of my time is in the music industry, and there are people there who've got great big lists. They're bands, and they don't think of it in terms of monetizing your list. That's all kind of foreign, but they've got a following. So when you're promoting, when they're like, hey, can you recommend this product? Sure, no big deal. I recently was in a market, and I actually yesterday I just paid a few $100s. I guess you would call it a solo ad. But basically, it was for an email blast. That I know I'm going to make tons in return from there, because there's just so much opportunity, and they don't get hammered just like the internet marketing list. Offer after offer after offer, so it's even more responsive. They've already got built-in recognition, that endorsed mailing, like you discussed, and people nowadays just have all these different followings. Folks who own forums, they've got and they can send out an email. So that's a place where you can go to find an email, somebody to do email blasts for you. People who've got a responsive blog, they've got fans on Facebook. They've got an active Facebook fan page. But just don't think, that's the way marketing is now. People are just like, everybody's burnt out from the list, and that may be true to some extent. But go outside that list and find out that there are other type of markets that may be related. Maybe you're just in their marketing list, but there are people who are interested in IT, or they're interested in what is the latest tech companies coming out from Silicon Valley, or maybe they're into financial literacy, or maybe they're involved in self-improvement. Those are all related markets that you can actually contact and go after. So you made some good points there, Eric, in terms of just using affiliates to build up a really good, increasing your funnel, but increasing the percentage and conversion numbers of your funnel using endorsed mailing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of people, I mean, that's probably, right down their alley as far as being right in their wheelhouse. There's my baseball analogy. It's in their wheelhouse.
Finally.
Crank a home run, I forgot about the baseball analogy. I'll have to mix in a couple more before we end this call. But the reality is, let's just add it right now. In baseball, if you get a base hit 3 times out of 10 at-bats, that means you're batting 300, right? So that means you're failing 7 times. So you go up to bat and you strike out. That's failure number 1. You get to bat and you hit a pop-up to the shortstop. That's failure. You got out. So, but if you get a base hit 3 times out of 10, then you're considered a success. In fact, if you were to bat 300 in the pros, you'd go to the Hall of Fame. So that means baseball players fail more often than they succeed, especially when it comes to hitting. Well, when it comes to recruiting affiliates or business, you're going to fail a lot of times. If you go ask for affiliates to promote for you, and you go ask 10 people, maybe 7 of them tell you no. But if 3 of them tell you yes, you're a Hall of Famer and you make a lot of money. And who are they anyway? They're just people out there on the internet, right? Like they're in business as an online business, and that's part of business is marketing and making money. And another point, though, is a lot of marketers out there build a list. They sell one product to that list. They only own one product. It's their flagship product. And they promote, and then their list just sits there and just collects cyber dust, right? It's just sitting there. And you come along, la-di-da-di-da, hey, would you like to promote my offer and make a whole bunch of money in commissions? And they're like, what a great idea. My list is just sitting there. I might as well promote something else to them. And like you were saying, in the other niche markets especially, the make money online space is different. But the other markets, they're like, well, I would love to promote for you. Thank you for coming along, and asking me that. What a great idea. You're a genius. But it's such a great way to make money. But there's the baseball analogy. I mean, so what if you fail 7 times? As long as you get success 3 times or 2 times, it can make a big difference. I mean, look at that year 2009 or 10 or whatever year it was. We looked at it and saw that 9 people generated that much money. And that's pretty remarkable. And, and looking back at last year, which is what we're doing right now with taxes and all that. So you love taxes. I could do a whole podcast on taxes. But anyway, we're looking back at, last year and looking at some of the people that promoted for us, and it's even less people they didn't make as much as $600,000 because we got a lot of traffic from our own internal list, and we did a lot of paid stuff, media buys and solo ads. So we weren't actively recruiting affiliates as much as we'd like to, but even less people promoted for us, but still generated a few $100,000. It's just amazing. And what's funny is those people promoted more than once. So they promoted like in February, and then they promoted again like in September. Same people, because they're friends. It's just weird how that works out. Anyway, it's big business, and there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of opportunity, just like you were saying.
I'm going to share with you a strategy that a friend of mine gave that I think this will put, this might blow you away a little bit here. So you might be thinking, well, how can I get, find out what are some people who've got lists in there? And one thing that you can do is you can go over to ClickBank. Now, everybody's heard of ClickBank, I'm sure. ClickBank.com is one of the biggest websites that sell digital products. Well, it's probably overtaken now by Amazon, but at the time, there are a lot of ClickBank products that are out there. And for each of those products, you can safely bet that a majority of them have an opt-in. We can, if there's a free book on, I don't know, fantasy baseball. Okay. There's a list, right? So to get free tips on how to become the best fantasy baseball player. Okay. So you sign up for these lists on there, and you can see, which ones are actively promoting. Right now, like you said, most of those people just have one product, right? They got one ClickBank product. You might get a few autoresponder emails, but that's about it, and then they're done. Well, what he did was he would then contact the people. If he saw that there's a list and it was just basically promoting one product, he would actually, he would contact them to see if they can get a promotion from it. But here's what's kind of brilliant about it. If it looked like it was a product that, let's say, it was sold a few years ago, not much activity, he'd actually make an offer to buy that list. He would actually buy that list for sometimes as low as just a few $100 because it was a list that was no longer, because they're not doing anything. It probably wasn't making anything. Yeah, you have to do your due diligence. You sign up for the list. And he would actually go and buy that list. And, sure, people would ignore it, but, you might get out of 3 out of 10, your average, people actually wanted to buy that list. And what he would do is, if it was, depending on how responsive it is, he would first ask them to endorse his product. So let's say he had a related product on, maybe he had some baseball, fantasy baseball software or something like that. And then say, hey, do an endorsed mailing, because he knows he's going to get a better response if it was endorsed from that owner. And then he would take over that list and oftentimes would keep the same name, keep the same person. But he'd be the one making the majority of that. He would make 100% of that money because he's already bought that list on there. That's that's when you take that endorsed mailing and just flip it upside the head. And to give you another baseball analogy, it's like A-Rod using steroids on your list.
That was a good one. Dang
You like
it, I'm not going to be able to beat that one, man. I'm not going to be able to beat that one. Dang.
Yeah, it's like it's not even fair.
that was a good analogy. Dang it, you beat me.
I was waiting for that one for a while, but yeah, that's when you take that endorsed mailing, and hopefully you guys can start thinking about that. You know, there are a ton of lists out there. A lot of them are probably already dormant. You know, you can sign up for these opt-ins. You don't have to put your own email. You can create a Gmail account. That's what I do. I subscribe to all Eric's emails. He's using a fake Gmail account. He's always yelling at me on something. Motivated me. I'm just kidding. But then you can see what they're doing, and if it looks like, you know, because you can tell which lists are like responsive and which ones aren't doing anything. And more times than not, a lot of these opt-ins they're dormant. Now you have to kind of check it out. You know, what you do is you sign up, maybe ask them to do a solo mailing to see how it's responding. But then, you know, if it looks like it's converting, just think, what would you do if you could actually own that asset, own that email list? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very creative and brilliant way of going about it. And I think the you know, probably the way to look at doing that is like, you know, you just go out there and they turn it into a system where you may get 10 or 20 lists before you get one that's a home run. So you're like going and getting base hits, right? You're just trying to make contact by getting these lists, and then all of a sudden you hit one out of the park, you know, grand slam, home run, because you end up buying some list for $500 that ends up being a gold mine, you know, just sitting there because those people aren't sitting there studying marketing, listening to brilliant marketing podcasts like this, learning these techniques. They just have one product and they just let it dormant, and they probably moved on to some other thing in their lives. It's just sitting there. So that's a great technique. I think that can work for a lot of people.
And the thing is, too, is when you look at a business, it's not, you know, people think, well, what makes a business? Now, well, you need to have great products. I don't agree with that. I think what makes a successful business is the database. Who owns the list? Who owns who actually has the leverage to own it? You know, I'm in medicine, when, you know, a doctor is looking to buy a clinic or a dentist is looking to buy a clinic, you know, what's the most valuable asset of that clinic? It's not the location. Sure, that might have something to do with it. It's not the nice chairs or maybe the location, the sign, whatever. No, the most important thing is that patient database. He's buying all those patients who are spending money every month. That's the most valuable asset. It's the same thing to do with an online business. It's the list, it's the database, it's the relationship to that list that's the most important. Product can come and go. You can always create new products. But you can't, you know, it takes time to develop your own list. At the end of the day, that's the most valuable aspect of any business. And what will you own there? Then you'll own an asset. You know, develop a system, like Eric said, and then, you know, continue building your list and your database, and then acquiring lists and database.
It's just one big giant game of Monopoly, huh?
Yes. And
so I'll take that Baltic Avenue and put a hotel on it.
And now you're doing Monopoly game analogies, and we were going to save that for
we'll do that
podcast. Yeah. So, you know, you don't want to sacrifice your standard, but if you're ready to hit a grand slam, what it takes are those singles and doubles.
But most importantly of all, I want to get this message across. There's so much opportunity in business anyway. When you start really, when you were just talking about the dentist and the doctor and the database, I like 3 different business systems popped into my brain. I'm like, well, I'm not going to derail the conversation, but there's so much opportunity out there to make money. It's really just a matter of going down that rabbit hole, just getting it started, and then kind of perfecting your system as you go along, and just getting it rolling. So many people they don't get started with something, and it's better to get started, even if it's not a masterpiece, and then perfect it over time, than it is to just sit in the stands eating popcorn instead of getting on the field and playing the game with us. Get on the field and take your hacks. Step up to the plate and take your swings and try to hit the ball and have some fun, or run around the bases and wear the uniform and play the part, and get in the game and laugh and get dirty and have fun instead of sitting in the stands watching the other people play the game. You want to come down from the stands, put the popcorn away, and get out here and play the game, because it's much more fun than it is sitting in the stands.
Okay, I think they're pretty much tired of all these analogies.
Hey, that one was pretty good, man. That one was.
That one
it
was
wasn't
good, but I think that's enough.
It wasn't like A-Rod steroids good, but it wasn't bad, man. I don't know. I kind of was preparing for that. I don't know. It probably came out okay.
Great. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But that's great advice to give out there. There's no minor leagues, is there? It's really, you just got to step it up, and just take your hacks. And
That's right.
That's the only way that you're going to learn, is actually being in the game. So cool. So for those who want to ask us a question, we've set up a voicemail. We can ask us any question you want. Go to InternetIncomeShow.com. And on the right side, there is a button that says Ask Us a Question. And if we choose your question, you will get a prize. And Eric, you know what that prize will be?
I didn't even know we had a button. Awesome. No, I don't know what that prize is. Popcorn?
We'll see. So there's always anticipation in marketing. So you'll have to see what that is. So if you've got a question, give us your name, tell us what your question is, and if we pick you, we will have the call on our next podcast. So that'll be fun. So, all right. Thanks, Eric. Any last minute thoughts before we end the podcast? It was a good call.
Yeah, it was a good call, man. I enjoyed it.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time. For Eric, this is Dr. Mike. Keep moving forward.
You just listened to the Internet Income Show with Dr. Mike and Eric. Now, get to work.